Welcome to Woodworking by No Remorse, where I use reclaimed wood of various sorts for most of my projects. I have a whole list, you may see it behind me, of projects that I want to do, and I'll be working on those on and off for the next couple of weeks or so. I want to film everything and I want to make videos of it, but I've decided, and I forgot to mention that earlier, I've decided to post a new video every time I get 50 more subscribers. So please subscribe to my channel, please hit the notification bell. You may see in some of the videos parts of other projects in the background. It may be things you've already seen, it may be things you've not seen before. That's because I'm filming as I work on individual parts of the projects. I'll be putting the videos together as and when I can. I hope you'll enjoy all the videos. I'll recycle the intro as well as I'm recycling wood, so why not recycle video. I recently bought this tub, this box, 32 litre. It's a bit more than 30 centimeters wide and about just shy of 50 centimeters long. I intend to use it for an oil bath for my cutting boards, but it's got a relatively tight fitting lid, and I thought I might do some experiments before filling it half with oil. You may have heard of smoked oak. Now, that's not to say that you're supposed to smoke oak. I don't advocate smoking, but it's a process where you use ammonia to change the, I think it's the color composition of some of the chemicals in oak. Maybe the tannins, I don't really know, but I'm going to try that. I've got some ammonia here. In Danish it's called salmiak spiritus. I don't know why, but that's what we call it. It's 25%, it's quite strong, and I don't want to use it in here in the shop, and I don't want the fumes to get into all my other woods. That's why I'll be using the box. But first I need to cut some pieces, and I've got this little plastic tray, and I think I need a couple of pieces, a couple of spacer blocks, a little higher than this, just to keep the oak on top of the fumes. And I grabbed this remnant of a 2x4, thinking I may have to cut it to width and to size, but it's just a few millimeters higher than the tray, and I'll simply cut two 30 centimeter pieces from it. The setup is actually quite simple. Plastic tray, spacer block, which turns out to be a bit too long. I'll shave off a centimeter or two off camera. One moment. Test number 2 to see if the spacer blocks fit. I guess the measurements indicated on the box are the top, not the bottom measures. Anyway, that's going to be the setup. Now I just need a few blocks of oak that I can expose to some ammonia fumes. And to save myself from further embarrassment, measure the bottom of the box, which is 36, so I'll do 35 centimeters. I can't remember if I've shown you this before, but here on my table saw sled I've got marks for every 5 centimeters or 2 inches, and that makes it very easy to rough cut pieces. For example, now that I need 35 centimeters, if it's off by a millimeter, it doesn't really matter, but the last one I know is 35, and I can simply cut a few pieces to that length. And I have this whole pile of thin strips of white oak. I want to see how they react to the ammonia. So I'll be cutting a few pieces of the strips as well. Then it's just a matter of placing these, and yes, they are touching the tray, I just want to see what happens with the ammonia. If the blocks or the tray leaves any kind of contact marks, I want to know that as well. All I need now is to pour in the ammonia, put on the lid and wait for however long it takes. But as I said, I won't be doing that here in the shop. I'll take it out back and leave it outside. It is very cold here in Denmark these days, so it may take overnight for it to have any sort of result or reaction. The last thing I want to mention is that I'll be using a deciliter, a tenth of a liter. I'm just using it for consistency. It's pretty cold and I've left the box sitting on the ground. I'm sure temperature will have some sort of effect on the reaction, but I'll just leave it in the garden until I see some sort of effect. The next day I brought the pieces into my shop to see the effect at close hand. It was quite noticeable that the heartwood had turned really dark brown. The sapwood was not quite as affected by the ammonia, but still a noticeable result. I then cut a piece in half just to see how deep the color change had penetrated. And it turned out to be about 2 millimeters, and that's in cold weather with just a deciliter of ammonia. And to see if there was any difference in effect on a glued up piece, I grabbed this small cutting board made entirely of the thin strips and placed that in the box with the ammonia, again leaving it overnight in the cold weather. I'm really surprised how strong the reaction is, even in this cold weather. By comparison, these are a few of the strips that haven't been fumed, and this is the small cutting board which was left overnight, and by accident I dropped a few drops of water on it, but that will show me how it looks when oiled. I'm quite surprised, and positively so, how well it worked, my little experiment with the ammonia. Even the cutting board, the small cutting board, was colored quite nicely, and some of the pieces got really dark from the ammonia. This one with a lot of sapwood, it turned more grey than black, but you can really see, I hope you can see the contrast, and the thin strips as well. They're colored almost all the way through, and that's from leaving the ammonia overnight in the cold. And you saw from the picture how little was actually used. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed it enough that you will subscribe if you haven't already, and please click the notification bell to get notification when I upload new videos. Thank you very much. I don't know how often I'll be using this method of smoking the oak, but I'm sure I will find a use for it, especially when it's so easy.